How's everybody doing out there? This is the Cool Club. Bonk, bonk, bong. All right, man, it's going down. We recently just had the release of the final part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure on Netflix, Stone Ocean. Just JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stone Ocean. It's released on Netflix, and man, it's awesome because they've released every. I like binge watching things. Like, I don't want to wait for every episode. I've already read the manga, so I already know what's gonna happen. And any day one fan, they've read the manga as well. It's just the same with all parts of this, like JoJo Leon. I have the last part in the manga. I've read that Steel Ball Run. I've already read that. Can't wait till that's implemented into a manga. Into an anime. I'm sorry. It's gonna be cool. All of these things, I gotta give it to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. They do a lot of cool things. Now, with that being said, we kicked the new season off with the episode titled Bohemian Ecstatic. Bohemian Ecstatic. I know it's a crazy name there. We all know how JoJo's Bizarre Adventure plays on music and artists and song names and things like that. Now, this episode here starts with Anastasia and Weather Report. They're talking about Jolie and her recent prison break with Imperial and Hermes. And as they're speaking, Anastasia pulls on Weather Report's collar and recognizes the Joestar birthmark. That happens that everyone from the Joestar bloodline has. Now, Weather Report is growing more angry, more stoic, more. He's growing, like, as you noticed in the last season. Weather Report will whisper in your ear. He was he seemed kind of timid, kind of, aloof more so. But now, Weather Report, you can just tell from this scene that he's not playing any games. He's going after Father Pucci full throttle. And any of us who read the manga, we know, Weather Report stand. And if you saw in the last season, that stand, it can get crazy. You understand? we know. So Weather Report decides that he's gonna go ahead and break out as well. Because we know Father Pucci stole his memories. So he wants to get his memories back. He knows that Father Pucci is his enemy and he's gonna pursue him. So all of the heroes are now in pursuit of Father Pucci at the moment. And that's where we start off. Now, Father Pucci himself is having a hard time. He had to stand Pale Snake. Now, when he met with the baby, that green baby, it enhanced his stand. And now we know who've read the manga what it's becoming. But he's having a hard time. It's running awry in his system. Like, his body's trying to control this raw power. And you seeing a lot of things happen. You saw in the last season when he touched the eggs, he accelerated the time there. And the eggs turned into, the lady's nails start growing, the eggs turn into little chickens. Now, Father Pucci, he comes, he catches a cab. His cab stops at a hospital. Basically, like, everything's leading, like, the spirit of Dio is basically leading Father Pucci into where he needs to go, people he needs to encounter. It's like the universe is working in Father Pucci's favor. This is the thing. And he's the villain of the story. This is why I like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's not just such a black and white story all the time. It's a great story. The storytelling is some of the best in manga and anime. I have to give that to the creator. Now, Father Pucci arrives at the hospital. He sees three men. They're all in critical condition. They're all getting rushed into the ER, and one of them has been shot in the leg by the police, and he's jumped off a 6-story building. Another one's ODing on drugs. Another one of the men drove a motorcycle into head-on traffic. These men are having these are problem stricken men. Like, these are men that have given up on life, you know, and each one of something in a ring falls from one of them and rolls towards Father Pucci. Another one drops a quarter out of his pocket, rolls towards Father Pucci. Father Pucci's realizing that these men that are he's led to these men so they can become basically his disciples or henchmen or whatever, you know. And Father Pucci goes in there and he gets them, basically recruits them. And as you learn down the line, you learn who they are, and you learn that in the next episode following them. These are Dio's sons. You understand? All of these men are Dio's sons. These men are plagued with things that they don't even understand why they having so much problems in life, but it's because they have a higher purpose in life. And this happens in real life as well, which is why, again, I love the anime. But so one of the men that he recruits has a stand that's called Bohemian Ecstatic. And this stand user name is Angelo. This stand is not one of my favorites, I will say. These 2 episodes, they started off the season, I would say that they just got them out of the way. You know, and it's the same in them. This was maybe taken better by the Japanese audience. This was because his stand is basically can take your soul out of your body, basically make you think. He basically turns everybody's life into storybooks. He can make you think that you're in a storybook, and then you actually become the character of the story. And they can play it out to where the story, they could play it out to where you become the character of the story and your life plays out how the story plays out. I know that's confusing. A lot of people are confused. Like, this is a very confusing stand, and it's one of those stands that just go haywire. It's one of those stands that can ruin the earth, you know, have people going nuts. But the main usage of him doing, and the stands are usually reflections of you. His main usage of that is because he was a drug addict who felt the whole world shunned him, didn't care about him. So basically, he didn't care if the world around him burned. He was he's basically just his sole purpose is just to follow Father Pucci's will and protect him. And at the time, for him doing that to everybody, it just confused Anastasia, confused Weather Report, got them running around. Anastasia's now, he was the first one affected. Anastasia's soul is out of his body. He's seeing the Snow White popping out everywhere. He's seeing Pinocchio. He's fighting with Pinocchio, a demon Pinocchio. He's fighting with the 7 dwarves, you know. And at the same time, Anastasia can't even hear. Weather Report can't hear Anastasia. So now Anastasia's just getting separated from Weather Report. He's running around in his own little world of fairy tale land, you know, while the stand user himself is flying in a plane. The stand user himself is moving further and further away. So to end this stand, you have to take out the user. Well, that's what was thought by Anastasia. But so he running around with the Little Red Riding Hood, all these storybook. Batman is even coming. Is like people around the world are getting affected by Angelo's stand. Now people around the world seeing superheroes. Everybody is affected. The news knows about it. Like, the whole world knows what's going on. Mona Lisa's popping out of paintings. Things like that. That's why I said this was definitely very bizarre of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You could tell this is also the final chapter, because everyone in the world is getting affected by people's stands. You know, these are world-ending stands. So at the end of the first episode, you have the driver who was driving Anastasia and in Weather Report. Basically, he's part of the stand. He turns into the big bad wolf, gets his head ripped off by Diver Down, and he basically tells Anastasia this ends just like the story ends, like the big bad wolf ends, or the story of Little Red Riding Hood, where the wolf gets killed. And Anastasia finally realized what's really going on, and now him and Weather Report continue on, but the stand is still going awry. Now, in the second episode, I'm just going to go ahead and do Bohemian Ecstatic, the review for the episodes in one. I'm going to do the two in one sitting, because they're basically, again, I just want to get through these. They just had to, it feels like they just wanted to hurry up and get through these episodes, because, again, this stand here is not one of my favorites, I must say. Like, going through all these story tales and stuff, it's not just my favorite thing. So Anastasia in the second episode starts with him and Weather Report in another town. And now Anastasia's still bugging out. He's seeing the story of, I'm not familiar with this story, but he's seeing the story of some little goats who get ate by a wolf, and then the mother goat comes with a pair of scissors to cut open the wolf's stomach, and he fills the wolf's stomach with rocks, then tosses the wolf into the sea. Yikes. I mean, that's a children's story. But yeah, so Anastasia's bugging off on that. He's looking at going into bakeries. He doesn't know what's going on while he's distracted by these little sheep. And while he's doing that, police roll up on Anastasia, and they're trying to check him out, and because they know they're wanted men. They did a prison break. Both him and Weather Report's wanted. And so we find out that Anastasia has another ability with Diver Down. He can use Diver Down to insert things under his skin. So he inserted chocolates from the chocolate shop or bakery or whatever. No, he's actually at a chocolate shop that he was at, and changed his face so the cops couldn't recognize him. And it made his face distorted, and it looked like a different person, like a fat old guy. So we find out he has that different ability. And now he links up with, now he finds all of these other different encounters, all of these other different characters, and the sheep corners him in the alley and tells him that, or the goat rather, says that, look, we're gonna have our mom come. He basically turns Anastasia into the villain of the story, the big bad wolf, or the wolf of the story. And now the mom goat is going to come and cut open Anastasia's stomach, put rocks in it, and toss him to the sea. So he's going to die in the face. The stands used to kill him, to attack. The stands going awry. So now Anastasia doesn't know what he's going to do. He's running around trying to find Weather Report, to have Weather Report use his stand to kill the user, because Weather Report's tracking the user, and Weather Report's not affected by any of this because he doesn't have a memory. So he doesn't know about any of these children's stories. And if you don't know about them, like most people in the world, then you won't be affected. But Weather Report is familiar with the paintings of Van Gogh, and that's part of the stand as well. So Van Gogh's came alive and starts messing with Weather Report's head, and now he's tripping out. So he's trying to hurry up and find the stand user using his stand Weather Report. Now, Weather Report is a very powerful stand. That thing there, the Storm, the X-Men to the 10th power. Weather Report has a range. He's looking for the user. He can sense them in the clouds, but the user's on a plane. So Ungalu's on a plane. So Ungalo's traveling at the speed of whatever the plane travels. Weather Report, even a hurricane doesn't travel that fast. He can't track the plane moving that fast. So now they're in trouble. Van Gogh, Weather Report's tripping on Van Gogh. Van Gogh's killed himself in real life. So now he's imparting that on the Weather Report. His story, Weather Report's becoming Van Gogh. Van Gogh shot himself twice in the head. So now Weather Report shoots him. He forces Weather Report to shoot himself in the head one time. Only in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure can men and women survive life-threatening injuries and still make it out alive. Shots to the head. Like, that's the same thing that happened to Mista in Golden Wind. Mista was shot in the head by the villain who had the Grateful Dead stand. Him and his brother Prosciutto. They shot him in the head, man. Do you understand? Like, and the same thing just happened to Weather Report here in this episode. Matter of fact, Weather Report was shot in the head twice. But at the same time, he was using... So, we'll get there. So, Weather Report's trying to track down the stand user. This is not... It's not easy. It's to no avail. But now they show you a flash. They pretty much show you a flashback here of how they cut to Angelo and him on the plane. And they show you how he's got his powers from Father Pucci. And they show you that Father Pucci came into that hospital and saved all three of them. They had life-threatening injuries. He came into the hospital, saved all three of them, and told them who they truly were, and gave them their stand abilities. So this is getting pretty bad for the heroes here, as basically we think everything's all over because they can't find the stand user to kill him. Anastasia's getting chased down by the mother goat, and Weather Report's shot in the head. But what we didn't find out, we didn't know, we didn't see, is that Weather Report was having Van Gogh draw a hero. He was creating his own story at the time to basically the only fail-safe. Like, basically the stand, that stand is just a wild stand. Like I said, the stand runs wild. It doesn't have any respect for persons. You understand? It's kind of like that of the stand in the last season that was the dragon stand that basically was giving pointers to anybody who it could, or who it felt was worthy. It was giving pointers to everybody, not just the stand user. The stand user was like, hey, shut up. This just the same way with this stand. Now, Weather Report was having Van Gogh draw a hero and create a hero story, saying that everything that just happened was reversed and it never happened. So everything just reversed that happened. All of those cartoon characters got sucked up. All of the people who were seeing them, all that stuff, the books where the cartoon characters came out of, those images came back into the books. Weather Report wasn't shot in the head twice. Anastasia's stomach wasn't cut open. It healed them, brought everything back to the way that it was. And in doing that, it basically shut the brain down of Angelo. It came in that whole sudden rush of things, I guess, kind of just was too much for his brain to endure, and it shut him down, and now he's like a vegetable. So he's out of commission. That's one down. Now, I will say, thank God, I was so ready for this episode to be over. And it's not just because I don't like JoJo. No, it's because of this stand. I did not like Bohemian Ecstatic. I do not care about no cartoon characters. And the way that it was, man, it's just it was about to kill Weather Report off some stupid cartoon. And the way that it was doing it is stupid. But okay, I get it. They have there's a lot of different unique stands in JoJo. Some I'm not going to like every one of them. So we cut to Jolie, and she's visiting. She pops up on her boyfriend, the boyfriend who Romeo, who set her up, who caused all of her troubles and things like that. Well, so we thought, but who definitely made deals with the attorneys and helped keep her in jail. She pops up on Romeo, and you can imagine anyone who knows when you've done something to someone and you don't expect to see them, and you open up and they just pop up on you at your job, or you see them somewhere, the feeling that he had. This guy was freaking out. He was nervous, but in all, she wasn't there to kill him, because she could have. Stone Ocean could rip him apart. He isn't a stand user. Stone Ocean will do him dirty. But Jolie wasn't there to pull a 187 on him. She was actually there. She needed a vehicle. And she wanted to get money from him. She played him just right. And though she deserved everything, this guy Romeo was rich. He has a plane. He has a helicopter out back. And she asked him for the keys. She asked him for a vehicle and for money. He gives her the key, just some keys, and he gives her $1,000. He also is trying to plead with her, trying to get back with her, and oh, you're the only one for me. Like, stop it, guy. You almost got her thrown away, lock and key. Like, she could have died in that jail. You didn't care about her. Like, stop that. But so Jolie leaves, but unbeknownst to him, she's put a sticker on his tongue. One of Hermes stickers on his tongue. So it split it into two. So now when you do that, you can hear what a person is saying when you leave. She was trying to make sure that he wasn't going to call the police and rat her out. Soon as she left, he got on the phone and dialed 911. But unbeknownst to her, he was only calling to throw them off of the trail instead of snitching her out. So maybe he's changed a bit, but still, who cares? She rips the sticker off. The tongue goes right back into his mouth. And you know how Hermes powers work. Once it goes back in its fracture, so it's gonna fracture a bit. So now he has a split tongue or whatever, hurt tongue. And that's how we pretty much end the episode with the group still pursuing Father Pucci further and via helicopter. Little Emporio, that's what I get the gist of. Little Emporio wants to take it for a spin. So that's how we end Bohemian Ecstatic episode 2. Oh, it's going down. We haven't even scratched the surface of of the things that's gonna ensue. Any of us who've read the manga, just stay tuned. We know it's going down. We are waiting to see heaven. So with that being said, this is the Cool Club. Bang! I am out of here.